Bourbon, Broncos, and No B.S. Fans, brews, and Broncos news.
What is up, Broncos country? And I already know what you're thinking. No, Kevdan did not shave his beard. It's me, your favorite substitute teacher, the baby-faced assassin, Adam, who, yes, is over 5 feet 10 inches tall, despite what anybody else tells you. Oh my goodness, we have it's going to be an amazing day today because today is a celebration of the man, the legend, the wide receiver that was known to us as Demaryius Thomas, but who we called and loved as DT. Go ahead, post your comments, guys. Let's get some initial thoughts underway. So before we even get into the festivities of the game, we have a game. And the visiting Giants, what do we think about them? If it's me, I don't think the Giants are kind of a team in two sections because if you look at them as a whole, not that impressive. They're towards the bottom of the league in total offense and total defense. Don't have the greatest record to show as of right now, but that was with Russell Wilson. Yes, if you hear that name, no, I'm not trying to trigger you into any kind of PTSD flashbacks or anything like that. I'm just pointing out he did used to play for us. Now, with Jackson Dart under center, though, completely different team. Looks like they're playing with a ton of confidence, ton of swag, if you will. They also had a big win over the Philadelphia Eagles before it became a cool thing to do. If anything, maybe they're just copying us. But in any case, it is a stylistic clash between an energetic team that does have a ton of momentum and kind of an established team. It is kind of a weird to think of the Broncos as a veteran team now. But this maybe is the third year under Peyton, second year in the rebuild. And it does. This is the team that has the expectations of going far. The Giants do not. So it does kind of look like a stylistic clash at this point. I'm going to take off my hat because it's getting super hot. Take that off. All right. So now what has been kind of the carrying thing that has carried us to every win so far this year? And I want to say that's been our run game. Do we think that the Broncos can re-emphasize that at the start of the game and getting out to a faster start? Are we going to see maybe less play action and more just, hey, we're going to line up behind center and we're going to we're going to line up under center with the fullback and we're going to shove the ball up your nose? Jerry, James, Michael, what's up, guys? Thanks for coming in. I am so excited to be with you guys. And I mean, Jose is on here. Jose, you are reliable. You're so all your insights. I love all the energy that you're bringing, man. So nice to see you, buddy. Mike, what's going on, buddy? So let's get to some actual news. Yes, I am very hot and very sweaty right now. Now we go to the maybe the New York Giants defense. Where are we seeing that against the Denver offense? Again, towards the bottom of the league in total defense. Is this a game that the Broncos can use to maybe get like the Cincinnati game in order to get right? Maybe get out to a couple scores, really take all the momentum out that the Giants have built up in these last couple of weeks. So I think it's really important that if we're talking about keys to the game, it's one of the things that has really not bugged, but has plagued the Broncos so far. And that has been getting out to fast starts. What I really feel like they should do is reemphasize that run game in order to not put all the pressure on Nick's right away. And instead of having him come out firing the ball right away, let's kind of just ease into the game with our run game. So that would be me. What do you guys think? Do we want to be airing the ball out against a really bad defense, or do we want to kind of grind them out and make this a kind of a slower tempo game? Now, on the opposite side of that, the Denver defense versus a rookie quarterback seems to be tailor made for um, it seems to be a stylistic matchup that really does favor the Broncos. Especially when you consider Sean Payton's record against rookie quarterbacks, even in that respect. So you have the Broncos, who are literally right now on pace to have a 90 to 100 sack season, which is what's the word I'm looking for? Insane. We'll use that word. And and then you put him up against Dart, who, I mean, does look like he has a different kind of command of the offense now that Russell Wilson didn't have. I know that's hard for most people to believe, but Russell Wilson, for whatever it was, didn't do so well in New York, where Dart is succeeding. One of the guys that I think that also needs to be kind of talked about is 𝐃𝐞𝐬𝐳. Is what kind of impact can a guy like 𝐃𝐞𝐳�0 have on the game? Now, my contention with that is that 𝐃𝐞𝐳�0 doesn't actually have the greatest impact on the game as far as a stats impact, but he brings the intangibles. He's an energy guy. He's a glue guy. So for me, I think it's kind of important to make sure that that you're not giving them any kind of hope. No hope out of the gate. Anthony, what's up, man? So as I was saying, don't let them out of the gate and have to have this be where we have to maybe overcome a score late, or even worse, have them be where they're hanging around at halftime, hanging around into the third quarter, and maybe Denver needs a score late like they did last week. It kind of seems that's been the recipe so far, at least for the Broncos, to have not be as consistent on the offensive end and have to really come in with that last score uh, at some point in the game. And I'm kind of hoping that that isn't the case today. Uh, let's also take into account that the last two games have not been, I mean, have been against better competition. Say what you will about the Jets, and I'm not talking about their record. I'm talking about their defense before anybody flames me in the comments. I'm not talking about the Jets record wise, but I am talking about the Jets as far as their defense. Two stout defenses in a row. Offense didn't look great either week, but now you're playing a defense that isn't, at least statistically anyway, very good, and you're playing at home. So, what I am looking for as far from the Denver offense is I want to keep my expectations a bit tempered. I don't want to say that this is going to be a get right game. They're going to throw it around for 45, score 45 points and what have you. But I am looking for a better, more consistent effort. Michael, you're right on with me, man. Run the ball, pound on the defense, get them gassed in the altitude. I don't want this to be a game that we're having to claw back in the fourth quarter. I want this to be a game where maybe we can relax a little bit. If maybe take it easy on the old ticker. Because man, these last two games have not been kind of my heart at all, especially last week. Uh, Coffee and early morning sips of a beverage. It's just it doesn't do well for the old cardiac system there. Now, with as always, when we get to halftime, we'll be talking score predictions and kind of get into the nuts and bolts of the matchup. We will be taking score predictions for our contest, so make sure that you are staying tuned for that. But because this also is DT Day, we should talk about the man and talk about the wide receiver that was DT. I always started off kind of being, if I maybe get a little emotional or maybe get a little choked up, it's only because I really felt like Demaryius Thomas was more like a cool friend or a buddy that you knew, and he just happened to play football for the Broncos. Uh, so when he was traded, I was actually like, I was really bummed. And I remember seeing it in class. I was going to school at the time, and I remember seeing it and thinking like, man, this is the business side of the things that sucks. And while I understood it, because obviously you have Cortland Sutton in the mix, and you don't draft a guy like Cortland Sutton to have him sit for very long. And we find out later that Demaryius Thomas kind of knew the writing was on the wall a little bit as far as his time in Denver. And the fact that he even was aware that Sutton was kind of there to take his job, but still took the time to mentor him, kind of just showed the person that Demaryius Thomas was. Uh, Obviously, fast forward, you have DT gets traded to the Texans and then makes his way to New York from there. And obviously, you just never really saw a whole lot of production from him at that point. And it just was kind of a sour way to end his time in Denver. And even with him passing away unexpectedly, I always felt like it didn't sit right with me with the way that he left. And even he made mention that this was um it was hard for him to kind of hear maybe the fans not booing him, but just kind of wondering like where was the old DT. And it kind of just goes to show that these people that we boo these guys. And I don't have any kind of hard opinions about booing or anything like that, but that these guys still have uh I guess they're still people at the end of the day. So when we found out that he passed away, and now it's a legacy thing, and what is that legacy now? I know that we're kind of enshrining that in the stadium today, and to I'm so sorry, I forgot my train of thought. Basically, enshrining him into the stadium. It's kind of that precursor to that next level that they're trying to go to. So I guess the question that we're trying to maybe answer is DT a Hall of Famer? And what do you guys think? Put it in the comments and let's chop it up and maybe do some pros, some cons. I am not opposed to having a con argument here. So Michael reminds me of when they let Shanahan go. A little bit. Um Shanny, I mean, even that, I don't look like it, but I am old enough to remember when they did let Shanahan go. And even that was kind of out of the middle of nowhere. In like Shanahan goes in to have his meeting at the end of the year meeting with the Bolins, and then something happens and he's no longer the coach. And that was a pretty big raindrop that fell there because that precludes the start of the McDaniels era and actually precludes them drafting Demaryius Thomas the following the same season that McDaniels takes over. So, Ken, what is up? Hope you had a nice flight back from London, man. You're gonna have to, if we ever get to maybe meet up in person, you're gonna have to chop it up, man, because that just that's a bucket list thing to be able to go see not just your football team in an away stadium, but to go see your football team in an away stadium in another country. Let's see what else. Michael DT is a Hall of Famer. You know what? I always go back to the contemporary argument. I think, like for me, Rod Smith is a Hall of Famer because when you compare him to Hall of Famers, when you compare him to the Hall of Famers, he has the comparable resume. For whatever reason, Rod Smith isn't just he's not lumped in with guys like the Michael Irvins of his era for whatever reason, but he still has the resume. He should be there. Who are the contemporaries around Demaryius Thomas who presumably are going to be there, and how does DT compare to them? I think you could safely say that. I think you could say that is guys like Des Bryant. I think you could say that's guys like Megatron or Calvin Johnson or Julio Jones out in Atlanta. I think if you're comparing all those guys generationally, I think I mean it's hard to say that he doesn't. He also has one of these, and that gets weighted heavily into any kind of conversation when it comes to longevity or any or Hall of Fame resume. But probably one of the most dominant 4-year runs that he had as long as Peyton was the quarterback. You have the resume that goes along with that, the touchdowns, yardage, receptions, all of those things. So I think when comparing resumes, if you're gonna make the arguments for Des Bryant, for guys like Des Bryant, if you're gonna make arguments for a guy like Calvin Johnson, then yeah, I think DT needs to be there too. Maybe didn't have the kind of longevity you would want to see, but if you're talking substance of the career, then I don't think it's that much of a I don't think it's that much of a stretch. So Ken got back on Wednesday night. I don't like I have a really big fear, not fear, but apprehension of traveling just in general. It's almost comical how bad I don't like to travel. But going to Europe is like one of those things where it's like a long ride there and it's a long ride back. And the long ride gives me a lot of apprehension. So maybe if you could, I don't know, maybe you can sell me like, hey Adam, it's not that bad. Or hey Adam, you get to sleep for most of the I don't know. Uh but any case, as let's getting back to Denver Bronco football. As far as we all know who's going to come to ball on the defense anyway. We know that we're going to be looking for Benito to get on the stat sheet, Cooper. But a guy that's coming back today is Dre Greenlaw. And now here is the expectation, at least as far as I know of, unless somebody can tell me different. I did go over the inactives, so maybe if anybody does have game day inactives, they can maybe pass those along to myself and let me know as far as that. So let's go to the Google machine. This is not good for the views. Oh man, Gary, why you got to do me like that? My first time. Oh, and Gary's giving me that. I'm over 5. I'm over 5 feet. I promise. Uh, but it does look like the game day inactives. If we're pulling that up, I'm just gonna go to my phone here because that's a little bit easier than doing it over the computer, and I can talk at the same time. Uh, it is game day. Yes, it is. So going to the game day inactives, we can also talk about the guard situation, as well as the Broncos have lost 2 guards in the same amount of weeks. So let's go to the injury report as we have right now. Dre Greenlaw. Let's go to let's see, game day inactives. Linebacker Dre Greenlaw is official. So, what are the expectations that we should have for Dre Greenlaw in his first action with the Denver defense? Are we expecting him to have a massive impact? Or maybe something, don't get your hopes up. We're just kind of trying to get him back into the flow of the game. Um, for me, and I'm kind of speaking more as a pragmatist here, I don't want to see him get hurt. I don't want to see him rush into a situation just because we've seen him have so many setbacks with this quad. So if it were me and I'm Sean Payton, I'm probably putting him on a pitch count. Just don't, just like they had intended to do with him at the start of the year. Um, it, I mean, Dre should get about 25 snaps at most. I maybe should not have put that out there, but maybe 25%. I think that's fair, and maybe keep him as the sub instead of as a featured starter, and just letting Sternad and Singleton carry the heavy lifting as of right now. Mike, you can have fun at my expense, man. It's okay. I'm totally okay with people having fun at my expense. I'm totally okay with people having fun at my expense. Michael, why are you trying to trying to out me on the internets like that, man? I am 6 feet tall. I promise. I tried taking a camera into my doctor's office. They said no. But getting back to Dre Greenlaw, I am totally okay with him being kind of the super sub for today. I am totally okay with him not being out there carrying major defensive snaps or anything like that. I know that Singleton has been shaky this year, to say the least. And I know Sternad is limited in what he can do. I know I crack on Justin Sternad every time when I mention Justin Sternad. Justin, if you're listening, you should be getting warmed up for one. For two, it's all love, buddy. So for me, I'm okay if they're just bringing him in on passing downs. I'm okay with they're just bringing him in for maybe certain downs and distances. I'm totally okay with that. If it means that they're easing him back in and we're not setting him up for another injury, I'm totally okay with that. Ken, I'm kind of with you on this. I want to keep my expectations very low for a guy that I haven't seen do anything yet. Just don't get hurt. I want him to go out there. I want him to play the whole game. I want him to not I want him to not have to come out of the game for anything. Uh Yeah, that's an interesting point too. Using Greenlaw on just first and second down. He's just your first and second down yard or short yardage backer. I'm totally okay with that too. I'm totally okay with trying to find a way to integrate him into the defense without having to put too much on his plate right away. I feel like if you put too much on his plate right away, it's a bigger void if he misses more time. And I don't want to bank on him missing more time, but I think you kind of have to at this point. I mean, honestly, he's missed so much, and the quad has been just so finicky that I think you kind of have to show. I think you have to kind of account for it at this point, and really be careful in increasing his usage or increasing any kind of reliability on him as of right now. Uh, Greenlaw's only played in one game last season. Ugh. Does that I mean, I'm sorry. I would love Dre Greenlaw to be the Dre Greenlaw of 2 years ago, come in, dominate, and just take this defense from the level that it's at right now, which is already insane, and take them to that next level. Um, that's a lot to ask for a guy that's only played 4 quarters in the last 2 seasons. And so I don't know that I necessarily wanna just throw him out there right away. Today's gonna be a good test. Obviously, the Giants do have some short yardage matchups that they could exploit, especially when it comes to a guy like 𝐃𝐞𝐬𝐳. Um, um, the last time, 𝐃𝐞𝐬𝐳 being their short yardage guy, if you can kind of maybe take that out of the equation with a guy like Drake Greenlaw, I'm totally on board with that. Um, Ken, kind of the same thing. I don't want him having to really throttle up, and especially putting him in coverage. What even started the precluded the setback with this latest injury is that he was covering in pass coverage, and something tweaked the quad. So at that point, I just don't want him I don't want him going out there and doing something that's going to aggravate it. um, but it is football at the end of the day and not ballet. So fingers crossed on what we can reasonably expect from Dre Greenlaw. However, though, getting the emotional boost from having a guy like Greenlaw, I don't think could be underestimated. And I also don't think the emotional aspect of the game just itself today. Um, I'm really hoping that this is uh an emotional game that really just blows the Giants out of the water just from the start. Let's get this. Let's. I don't like close fist fight and rock fight games. I like blowouts, and I would really like to have a blowout today. Michael, hoping Roach can help Singleton and Sternard with the run game. Having a guy like Malcolm Roach back, I think even showed last week when you're able to throw him out there. Again, Malcolm Roach isn't out there with the starters like the Zach Allens, but that does not mean that he does not have an important role on this team, and that is being that situational interior run defender. And it's noticeable when he's not there. And when you take, example, last week, you're going to give it Saquon Barkley in Philadelphia, and granted, he did get hurt, but they were kind of keeping him hemmed in for most of the game, and even he didn't have as much an impact on the game as he normally does. So even to have a guy like that who you don't normally expect to have an impact as far as like sacks or anything like that, Malcolm Roach is that guy, and he's also a great intangible leader. That they were talking about him in the one of the post games one time, and he just seems like a guy that kind of keeps things light in the locker room. Aside with being a really great player, so a very under the radar signing from Sean Payton a couple seasons ago and bringing him in from New York or from New Orleans. But when it does come to Singleton and Sternod, oh man, I didn't think that would be one of the aspects of the defense that would be kind of troublesome. But we did point that out at the beginning of the year that had the potential of being a weak spot on the defense. Andrews, sick of the New York media and the Giants' egos. I'm not gonna lie, buddy. When the Giants are relevant, You hear a lot of their chirping.
Oh, hey, can you guys
Kev
hear
Dan.
me?
Yeah, we can hear you just good, man.
Perfect. Let me know if the mic gets either too loud or muffled or anything like that. But what is up, Broncos country? It is game day, Adam. I've been listening to you. I don't know if you thought that I'd be listening, but I've been listening. And so far, so good, man. Congrats on your first solo run here at Bourbon Broncos No B.S. So, got some notes for you, but that's okay. Hey, I got some notes from Gary for myself the other day, so it's
Oh,
okay. But
okay.
hey, lots of things you're talking about, and first off, people, I just want to let you know the talk about GT and the Super Bowl 50 kind of reunion here. Big news today. Everything people are talking about. They got the Demaryius Thomas 88 painted on the sideline down over here. So there's going to be a lot of motions today. I would say normally I could join you at halftime because I normally don't care about corgis racing babies, which is cute. Don't get me wrong. It's cute and it's enjoyable, but it's not something I have to see. So, no, hey, dude, I came in here an hour early. Angela, I saw your question. Um, they were already gone. And normally before, like, if I could get in here like an hour before kickoff, there's plenty of the handouts left. Today, there were not. So, unfortunately, I did not get a chain, but I got my personal one here. So, whatever. But look, I think hopefully the team's getting feed off this energy from the Super Bowl 50 team and the reunion and just kind of understanding how special this is for the organization, for the fan base, but having people like Drake Greenlaw back out there, even if it's a minimal, amount of time he's out there on the field, just having that presence back on the field is good to see. So, anyway, kind of some of the things that I've been hearing and getting from Broncos fans, but cheers to Broncos country, and Adam, take it away. What else you got? You're leading the show, man.
Well, I mean, since we're talking, I mean, it looks like the segment Kev Dan in the Promised Land. I like that. It kind of rolls off the tongue, doesn't it?
I'm gonna try. Let me know if this is a bad shot. I'll try and get you some infield shots.
We do got a shot of the field there. They're warming up right now. So,
What's Adam? What are you thinking about the game today in terms of potential worry areas for the Broncos?
For me, Kev, I think it's a matchup tailor-made for our defense. This is a team that really feeds off of Jackson Dart. Jackson Dart is the straw that stirs the drink. If he cannot stir the drink because he is on his butt, I don't know that the Giants have a whole lot of ways to win a game outside of that point. So, if it's me, I think it's a matchup that heavily tilts towards the Broncos, and Vegas agrees with me because Vegas has us at a 7 as a touchdown favorite at this point. Jerry, how much was that beer, Kev Dan? That is none of your business, Jerry. I'm sure it was. I'm sure it was fair. I'm sure it was a fair and modest price. Chris, what's up, man? With this, remember he's Super Bowl 50. Be wearing the third string QB who won their. He won't be playing on the team. With that team, I was reading the other day that there is going to be over 100 former alumni coming in for the game today, with over 40 from that Super Bowl 50 team. So man, just a great turnout for and a great representation of that team. Since we're talking about Super Bowl 50 and Demaryius Thomas, what is your favorite memory from that Super Bowl 50 team? For me, I kind of thought that we may have something special in the air when we beat New England in that snow game on Sunday Night Football, and we had to rally back and to do Tom Brady, to do the Patriots in our own house, just kind of set up that season as something that was going to be super special. So Jackson Dart says they want to come out fast. I'm assuming a guy like Jackson Dart would want to come out fast, but I think the Denver defense will have something to say about that. Kev, as far as defense goes, do you think Jackson Dart really has any way at attacking this Denver defense? Kev, maybe. Oh, well, I don't know if Kev heard me or not. He can't hear us. All right, so I'm gonna pretend to be Kev for a second. Let me put on my beard here. I'm gonna put on my beard. Kev said no, because what's gonna happen is that Nick Bonito and Coop and Zach Allen, all these guys are gonna eat today. Now, one thing to consider with one thing to consider is Jonah Ellis didn't practice again for this week. So that kind of makes you wonder. I don't know. I didn't see him on the inactive report, but I know he didn't practice. So if he's not able to go, this does put the pressure back on the rookie to. Oh, it looks like we got Kev back. Maybe.
And I can hear you now. And I can hear
All
you now.
right.
Sorry, I'm
Noise.
sure you just saw me sitting here kind of making your faces. Anyway, what's
You were
the first conversation question? What's up?
You were staring. It was uncomfortable. We were
Me too.
we were talking about maybe Jonah Ellis not being able to jump in today and going to be setting out his second straight game, pushing up the rookie into his spot. Do you think that affects the pass rush? Do you think having Jonah Ellis means anything to Jackson Dart at this point?
I think the pass rush is dangerous enough without Jonah Ellis. I say that to me. I respect Jonah Ellis a lot, and I think any team facing Jonah Ellis should respect Jonah Ellis a lot. He is doing really well for the position he's in. You know, he's not an every down playmaker kind of deal, but when he's out there on the field, he's making moves, and he's making things have to pay attention to him. However, with that being said, when you look at percentage of QB pressures, sacks, stuff like that, both Benito and Jonathan Cooper are in the top. I think it's 6 or 7. I know Benito's like one, obviously, and Jonathan Cooper is also in that list. So we have a very deadly duo right there. Then when you include Jonathan Myers and Zach Allen, right, now you have a situation where those 4 players alone are enough trouble for anybody out there. Now you add in number 99, Talanoa Hufanga, and you saw him getting in the backfield last year, right? So not only is he all over in the backfield, but he is blitz as well. So I think you have enough of a deadly pass rush coming from enough of these players that, you know, it's not like if you have one solid pass rusher and nobody else and lose him, now you're in trouble. The Broncos, I think, can overcome, obviously, Joe Allen's coming out here, but that's not to say at the same time that that's
Jerry, you beat me to it, man. Are we going to give out our predictions today? Which brings us to the half-hour point of the show, where
take it away.
we give our score predictions. If you are able to correctly predict today's game, you could have the chance to win a Bo Nix jersey. Ooh, ah.
No, Adam. Sorry, Adam. I'm corrected here. It's okay. Timer. I got you. It's any jersey of your choice. If you Yes, we will give away 3 bonus jerseys if/when, knock on wood, the Broncos hit 10 wins. But for the score prediction challenge, if you win and you get the score prediction correct, you get any jersey of your choice.
Ooh, all right. Well, that even sweetened the pot even more. Now, obviously, we can only take your first prediction. If you want to game the algorithm for us, hey, I'm not gonna you're not gonna break my heart if you want to put a bunch of those. But we're only gonna take the first one. So, with that being said, let us talk about this. Let's see, Jerry, where we got you at 21-17 Broncos. I am kind of the same mind as well. I wish that this could be. I wish I could give some type of confident remark about what I think this team is going to go, but every time it seems like I predict a blowout or things that like we should be boat racing these guys, it doesn't work out that way. So I'm going to keep it modest, but I'm going to get to my score at the end. James, we got you at Broncos 31, Giants 17. James is always much more optimistic than I am. Angelo 30-16 Broncos. I like it. Let's see. Chris, where we got you at, man? We got you at Denver 38, Giants 17. Again, I'm seeing a lot of optimism right now. Broncos 24, Giants 16. Ken, that's kind of what I'm thinking it's gonna be along there, but I'm gonna let you know towards the end of the show. And I already got you, Chris. 38-17 Broncos. I'm seeing I think the general consensus seems that like we're gonna be mashing on some Giants, and it's not gonna be much of a game. Which I said I'm totally okay with. My heart would really appreciate just let's just smoke them. Let's get them out of here, and let's not worry. Let's not make things interesting. You know what? I don't like interesting games. I like fun games. Michael, 32-9, interesting game. Only field goals, or did the Giants get a safety in there?
Hey, no. Enough safety talk. We had that. No more. We're good on safety for a while. We're not even gonna put that out there.
All right, Kev. Well, I got a challenge for you.
Okay.
I'm expecting a huge today, so I need you to get that going at the stadium. I need to hear on the broadcast the stadium going every single
I will.
All right.
I will. I already made friends next to me. We saw them way earlier. Got them on the podcast, so they just met me and they're like, "Why am I saying this is weirdo?" But that's okay. We'll be friends by the end of it. It'll all be good. But yeah, I will let them know about 𝐂𝐤. I'm gonna get this to spread. It is 𝐂𝐤, not 𝐓𝐚𝐤 from now on. And it's even faster. So Adam, again, I gotta credit you with that. I'm just like 𝐓𝐚𝐤 and 𝐂𝐤. Like it makes sense. When you added it's the sound players make when he hits them, that was the icing on the cake, and that makes it perfect.
Hey,
𝐂𝐤.
sometimes I come up with good words. Gary, I'm expecting a huge today. I'll take the Broncos at 31-17. Anthony has got us at 28-13 Broncos. Keith, 31-17 Broncos. Sean, what's up, man? Nice to see you. 24-10 Broncos taking the day. Jose, Denver Broncos 39, Giants 16. And of course, Sean, let's go. Big day today. Yeah, it is a big day, and I'm glad that DT's getting his flowers. Oh, don't forget the punt. We have a punter who also has an immaculate name that came organically. We did not just give him this name, but that is Jeremy Crawshaw, the Craw Daddy, and Craw is my daddy. I'm totally okay saying that. I'm more of a man for saying that, by the way.
Hey, Adam.
What's up?
Hey, they're getting ready for the players to rush on. At that point, it's going to get really loud in here, so I'm going to have to drop off. So let me give my thoughts here really quickly. And then I'll stay on for as long as possible. But look, guys, Broncos are in a very good position. They're getting healthy at the right time of the season with Drake Greenlaw coming back. Roach coming back last week as well. 𝐃𝐞𝐧𝐯𝐞𝐫 more. Awesome. The defense, I think we've seen has shown that they can show up and play the A game against the best and against the worst. And that's what the Jets should have some regular tolerance, but they were 0-5. And so the Broncos play undefeated team versus a winless team. The defense played the same way in both situations. And that's exactly what you're going to see from a team that's ready to win a championship. The offense, the situation here that everyone's looking at. So can the offense go out there, can they put some drives together early, put some points on the board, because the Giants are a team that when they get going early, it's tough to stop. The Broncos defense is not allowed a touchdown on the opening drive yet this season. So stop the Giants defense. I almost honestly want, and I never really say this, I honestly want the Giants to win the blank. The Broncos to win the blank so that the Giants do the season. Never mind, I'll think it backwards. That's usually what I do. I don't want to pick that. The beer's already getting. I've been drinking since like 8 a.m. So
that's all right.
But I want the Giants to get the ball first so that we can shut them down early, because I think the defense can be fired with all this super 50 reading stuff going on. So anyway, I think it's really up to the offense today to show up and put together some drives and just play ball. I think enough of just trying fancies, crazy things out. Sean Payton is to not overthink things. And if you just let Bo play ball and run the offense, I think we're going to be looking just fine. Enough. I love exciting football that comes down to the wire, but not every single game. And we've had enough of that this season, so let's get a game in here where by the halfway through the third quarter, we're sitting back and just enjoying the game that's on. So anyway, keep it going, Adam, and I'll stick around for as long as I can. If there's any other questions you want to tell me.
All right, Kev Dan,
score predictions. Broncos, I want to say it because bonus is starting my fantasy team. Broncos 31, Giants 15.
Wow. All right, 31-15. I like it. And you covered the spread too, Kev Dan. So let's see. We're gonna call you Mystic Kev Dan at the end of this one. All right, bud.
No, I'm not gonna go there. Sorry.
Oh no, we're edit that out. We gotta edit that out. All right, see you, Kev. All right, so back to me. Will Kev Dan come back for halftime? No, Gary. It is still your boy at halftime again, so buckle up. No, but seriously, I'll be there. I'll be back at halftime. I'll be here kind of giving you some of my thoughts on what we saw, which I'm sure is all going to be good news. I appreciate you, Chris. I appreciate you helping me out, man. But getting back to score predictions and getting back to final thoughts. So for me, at least we still got some time left, so I'm not going to get too much into final thoughts. But what I'm really hoping for in that first part of the game is, like Kev said, I almost hope that the Broncos get the ball first. And when they get the ball first, it's because I want the best unit to be on the field first, and that's your defense. So if the defense can kind of set the tone for the day, I think that will go a long way towards securing a victory at the end of the day. Gary, we're not going to call it that. We're not going to call it. It'll still be the halftime hash. Yeah, we're not gonna say that now. Ken brought up a good point earlier, then I wanted to get into it a little bit because I don't think that it's understated. And Dart can absolutely kill this team with his legs, and Debo is going to go try to replicate that Josh Allen type of attack when it comes to the Broncos. Now, why is that significant? At least when it comes to mobile quarterback teams, the reason that makes them so unpredictable is that you have to have every person on the field accounted for. And so it really becomes a matchup versus matchup, 11-11 type of game. And when you have to have a guy account for the defense, most of the time it becomes like a defensive lineman or a linebacker. If you have a guy who's mobile enough, you can really exploit that. However, where I feel like Denver is maybe a little bit different in that when they have used the spy, they've actually used guys like Nick Bonito. They've used guys like Tala Hufanga or as the spy. And when you're able to use a piece like that to kind of camouflage and not necessarily show your hand right away, I think that goes a long way to maybe taking out that advantage. So I don't know that Jackson Dart running today is going to be as big a deal. Where I do feel like his legs could come into play is on busted plays. So that's where I really would like to see Denver be clean on defense. And we got to talk about the penalties if we're talking about playing a clean game. Now, we've harped on it for weeks. The penalties have got to be better. Well, it goes for the defense too. And if the defense can force a 3 and out, not commit any turnovers on their end, and also just take the emotion out of this. Where I feel like New York is too dangerous right now is when it comes to momentum. It's not necessarily that they're a great offensive team or they have dynamic playmakers on the outside. Spoiler alert, they don't. But at the same time, they're playing with a lot of momentum. They're playing with a lot of energy, and especially with a young team you want to take that energy early. You don't want to give them too much confidence to roll on. You don't want to give them anything to build on. So if it were me, what Kev Dan is saying makes absolute sense. Get your defense out first to squash this thing from the start. As much as we would like the offense to go out and just pick them apart, I just don't see that, and it hasn't happened yet. But it can be one of those things where you're not giving them any momentum by having the offense go out first. Anthony, offense needs a great game. Here's what I will say about the offense. I don't know that they need a great game, but they do need a consistent game. And what that means taking advantage of scoring opportunities when they're there. There have been times where we've had to settle for field goals instead of touchdowns, where we've taken ourselves out of field goal position when we had a chance to score field goals. So being able to capitalize on those things is important. The other part of that is not starting penalties with drives not starting drives with penalties. Excuse me. If you're already a struggling offense, having to go that extra distance are just killers. They're backbreakers, and that's happened a couple times. You saw it in the game last week. Couple runs negated by penalties. A couple good passes negated by penalties. So you have to get in. You have to address the problem of where these penalties are coming from. Jerry, we have a problem with too many penalties. We shoot ourselves in the foot a lot, and I wish I had a way to like a magic wand or something out there that could give us a kind of a glimpse on like why we're taking so many of these and even kind of bouncing it around other people. Is it an undisciplined thing? I don't know. It doesn't seem to be because they're able to dial in at those key times. They've been able to dial in for those last drives. They've been able to dial in defensively when they needed to stop. So maybe it's over concentrating. No, uh, but it is concerning that, especially with a guy like Sean Payton, who is part of the Bill Parcells coaching tree, to have a team very undisciplined like that is very uncharacteristic. And I don't know that there's something else going on, and I'm not entirely sure what it could necessarily be. Um, Ken, offense was as bad as the score showed last week. Penalties are killing us. Bo's best plays keep getting called back. Even that part, where I've said a couple times where I feel like Bo has regressed a little bit. And when I talk about regression, I don't want to blow it out of proportion and say that he is, for a guy that we thought was going to be a future Pro Bowler, he's a guy who's going to be, just a guy. I'm not saying that at all. I am saying that we are seeing him maybe look flustered, look frustrated in the offense at times. What can that be attributed to? I think too much is being put on his plate, and I've said it once. I've said it on the Monday show numerous times. I think too much is being made of him having to stir the drink too much, and that's where I feel like he just needs to be part of the more of a complementary piece than he is. He needs to be more of a complementary piece than the whole offense at this point. Let's see. Most of the penalties seem to come against favorite practice squad players. Hey, uh, I haven't noticed that, but maybe we'll keep that in mind. Also, before we head out, make sure you're joining us for free. If you want to join and get free forever, and then when we have tiered memberships, as soon as those come, it'll be there too. James, here's what I think is been the key thing about kind of unlocking the Denver offense, let's say, and it needs to be play calling. For me, and while we can all agree, Sean Payton has probably forgotten more about offensive football than I could ever learn in a lifetime. It does seem like he goes away from the run very early. We still have not seen a situation this year where he has leaned on the run more than the pass, unless it was the Saltaquay game. So at least right now, it's really hard to say what can be done to improve the offense as from at least from the point of view of a player. If they take out the penalties and they just play consistent, and maybe you're just asking Bo Nix to be a game manager at that point, and just let him kind of drive the car and get to where I don't know. I still think too much is being made. I think too much is being put on both shoulders in the second year. Sean, should be more off calls be left to Bo? Should more off calls be left to Bo? You know, that's a good question. If it's me, because too much is because I feel too much is being put on him, I don't know. It seemed like he was calling maybe his own calls were a little bit better last year, and his own adjustments were a little bit last year as compared to this year. But what if those are his side adjustments? He hasn't been adjusting into the right play. If he's been adjusting runs into passes, he hasn't been hitting those passes. And if he's adjusting passes into runs, those runs haven't hit anything. So for me, I don't know that Sean maybe takes more of that, but I don't know that Sean will do that though. Let's see. Ken saw a bad Jets defense and wanted to run up the score. He overcomplicated the offense. You know, Ken, I think I think coaches are people too, and I think there's some truth to that. Um, I think Sean Payton right now has a bunch of shiny new toys that he wants to show off to their full potential, and he truly believes in his heart of hearts that they can do that. However, 6 games into the season, that has not been the case. And the farther you go into the season, the less and less likely you're going to see that. Um, when it comes to if we're making parallels to the 2015 team, let's talk about that offense. That offense, struggled from the jump. There was only one game in particular that really stood out as them having a really cogent offensive attack. Every other game was life and death for first downs and yardage, and it was hard. It was hard to sit through sometimes. But they were able to do it because they had an elite defense protecting them. So yes, would we like to see the offense get better? I think all of us would like to see the offense get better. I would love to see Bo Nix over 4,000 yards. I would love to see J.K. Dobbins running for 1,500 yards. I would love to see all my fantasy guys that happen to be Denver Bronco players just going off for me. Unfortunately, that hasn't been the case. And like I said, the farther you go into the season, the less I think that's going to happen. Can they be more efficient? Yes. Do I think they'll be better at the end of the year? I think they'll be marginally better towards the end of the year. But I think this may be just who they are for right now. And is that a little bit of a bummer answer? Absolutely. I mean, I wish I had more of a kind of optimistic point for the offense, but as it stands right now, since they haven't showed it, it's really hard for me to say that yes, this will be the game, even though this game is setting up to be that way. One thing that maybe hasn't been talked about as much is the Denver Broncos have lost 2 guards in 2 weeks. Ben Powers was playing at a super high level, so to lose him with his biceps injury was a big blow. Now, I wasn't really. I thought the insertion of Matt Pert into the offense was a bit of a head scratcher, mostly because Pert plays outside, and even when they bring him into sub, he's the extra tackle. He doesn't play interior, even if he has some guard playing experience. Now, kudos to Pert, who played the entire game with a busted knee. Tough as they come. However, it maybe makes you feel better about him not playing so great last week, but he didn't play great. Now you're going to your third tackle, which I believe they said would be Palchevsky. This is the guy that I actually wanted to play in place of Pert. But when it comes to offensive line play, it's about continuity. And one of the things that this offensive line had over almost every other team that they're going to play was that continuity. And now, now you don't have that. How big is that loss upsetting the apple cart in an offense that has been kind of hit or miss at times? So I don't think that's I don't think that's a thing that can be totally ignored. But now kind of getting back as we're wrapping everything up, getting towards the end of the show, Sean, feels great to wear DC jerseys. I haven't put mine on in years. I didn't want to ruin it. This is actually, so I like I was talking about on my Facebook page last night, that I'm not superstitious, but I am a little stitious. That's thanks to The Office. And I was having a hard time because I get super particular about what jersey I wear. Usually when you play at home, you wear the home colors and you have a hat, it's a whole thing. It's a whole process. Yes, I'm a little damaged, but stay with me. So my wife got me a brand new Bo Nix jersey for Christmas or for my birthday. Beautiful orange jersey. We're 2-0 in the jersey, right? Well, today is DT day. And they're good, but they're gonna wear orange. And I had a not a 6'7", and I'm sorry for saying that out loud. I had a quandary and I didn't know what jersey to wear. And it really came down to my friend and our friend 𝐷𝐿, who said, I think DT would understand either way, whatever you want to do. And I said, you know what? I think he would too. And so that's it had to come out. I had to bust out the number 88 as well there, Sean. Because this is also one of my favorite jerseys to wear. That's how I am. I'm a go-to jersey. I've been wearing my orange bow jersey too. I just gotta begin. Yes. And the thing is, like, because jerseys can be crazy, outrageously expensive, it's just like I always get mine towards like the middle of the year. So but again, I think we should get bracelets started. What would DT do? WWDT. and like I said, this is like one of my favorite jerseys to wear. It has a stitched on lettering on the back, the captain's patch here, and just had a ton of cool memories in this jersey too. So, so final thoughts as we head towards the end of the show. I am going to be very honest. I've kicked this around in my head. I usually look for reasons, not look for reasons for Denver to lose, but look for vulnerabilities, as it were. When it comes to the Giants offense, they're not very dynamic on the outside, especially without Malik Neighbors. They're kind of ordinary running the ball. They're kind of ordinary up front. What they do have is a lot of momentum, and they have a very charismatic quarterback. What does that mean? It means that he's going to be the straw that science the drink or the stirs the drink. And I think if you take him out of the game early, that's going to solve a lot of problems. Dart is going to have to deal with a very emotional crowd. I mean, if this were any other day, I think he would have a rough time here because Denver is just a hard time. It's just a tough place to play for anybody. But on a day like today, where everybody is going to be, it's going to be a cathartic thing to kind of celebrate DT going into the Ring of Fame. That I don't know. I don't know that any other day it would be tough. Today especially is going to be tough for the New York offense. And like, I don't like 𝐃𝐞𝐬𝐷. I'm just going to say right now, the dude's a cartoon character. He's Mr. Intangible. I would probably love him if he were a Bronco, but since he's on another team, he's just he's a cartoon character and he's annoying. Offensively, again, the Giants don't do anything well offensively. Before I get to my thought, Clayton, always a G, always there, man. What's up, buddy? Nice to see you, man. And always out there. If you're out there, smash that button and follow us, subscribe to us, like us, buy me presents. As I'm getting my last thought, offensively, or defensively, again, I don't see where. I just don't see them really having a threat for us anywhere, running or passing the ball. Again, we're at home. This has all the makings of a get-right game. So I'm really hoping that the Broncos put up 3 or 4 scores, touchdowns, not just scores, and the defense carries the day. I have this as a 31-17 Broncos win. Sean, I got to your original point, man, and I'm going to get back to that. In total, I have 47 signed authentic jerseys from one of my favorite players, as well as 70 signed memorabilia. Oh, wow, man. I'm going to have to send you video of I'm just redoing my man cave, and I put a bunch of my signed Broncos stuff out there, so we'll have to swap. Well, not that kind of swap. We'll have to share pics. Not, oh, my goodness, it's getting bad. I'll talk to you later. All right. So, anyway, oh, you know what, man? Jose, Adam, I appreciate you, buddy. You know what? If I seem a little nervous, if I seem a little stammery, You guys are being extra cool, and I just appreciate you guys. Clayton making sure to get his last score prediction in before we got 34-21 Broncos. Ken, Giants messed up a little. They may be able to catch the Broncos tired after it all. We got a motivated pass rush. You know what? And some of the things that I've seen online, I have seen a Denver team that doesn't. Denver does not seem amused with some of the antics coming from. Does not seem very amused coming from the antics coming from the New York side of the equation. Adam would have more jerseys. You know what? Guilty as charged, Gary. Guilty as charged. So we have come to the end of the show. I'll be back at halftime with the halftime hash. As always, keep your eye on the ball. And I have my own YouTube channel, Eye on the Ball 37, where I talk about all things Broncos, as well as the things going on in dad life right now. As always, keep your eye on the ball. And I will talk to you next time. Talk to you at halftime. Thanks. Ooh,
Do what I like, yeah, I do what I like, yeah, I do what I like. Sip and go, sip is right, and I go with the flow, yeah, I go with the flow, yeah, I go with the flow, cause I know I'm the show, in the zone, here I go, in the